It's Party Marty Mitchell on Country 107.3 WRWD. I'm here with Dennis Vetrano. Another edition of Behind the Law. Welcome, Dennis.
Hey, Marty. How are you?
All right.
So I was watching True Detective the other night. You ever watch that show before?
Yes, I love that show. I love all those kind of shows.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. So, you're watching this guy, the part where, he goes for the pickup and drop off of his kid, and he's explaining to his ex-wife at that point, how his kid is his whole life. And she responds to him, well, I'm going to be taking away visitation, or I'm going to get sole custody in this case. Those sorts of situations still, I can feel that fire in my belly when I hear that sort of stuff. And I'm thinking how frustrating that should be for him,
Yeah. So you watch these shows and you really start to get all worked up?
I do. And, I think, especially if it's a situation I feel like I could help. And I'm like, I know exactly what I'd do with this guy. If I just had him as a client, I'd fix his situation.
Now, they have the TV version, but what would you do in real life?
Well, in that situation, look, they portray this guy as an alcoholic and he's violent and these sorts of things, but they also portray him as somebody that really loves his kid. So, even the most dire circumstances can be turned around. You just need to have a lawyer to create that roadmap for you.
Now, they just need to follow your advice, too, once you create that roadmap. Right?
Absolutely.
Now, doesn't that happen a lot to you, too, where you give advice and they don't follow it all the time?
Yeah, and sometimes. It's usually pretty rare because, we make the advice seem logical to the client and they understand it. But, there are those occasions where you give advice and surprisingly they're paying you for this advice and then they just don't follow it.
Right.
Which is always kind of blows me away. But.
Could be frustrating, but of course, if they want to find out more, they can always contact you. Now, what's the best way to contact you?
I usually have people look us up on the website, drvetranolaw.com, drvetranolaw.com. Give you a feel for what we do and kind of our background.
All right. Dennis Vetrano, another edition of Behind the Law. Dennis, thank you.
Great to talk to you again, Marty.